we said one of the areas of concern is that ministry has identified a number of priorities flowing from the national priorities, and we listed them. Part of what we listed was our concern and prioritization of murder, firearms, drugs, and so on. And we said, we don't have a feel that crime intelligence is assisting police at a level that it is required to deal with these particular problems, especially in relation to particular areas in the country, in the 4 provinces that I called high murder rates.
Yes, you
So we wanted to get intelligence at a high level, to be seen to be active, so that we are able to be precise in dealing with high murder zones in different provinces. They should be active and assist us. And indeed, at some point, I held a meeting with National Commissioner to say the Western Cape is a high murder zone, the Cape Flats. Can you send intelligence so that you are able to assist your deployments, and then they go there and so on. Later, when I met, incidentally, Lieutenant Khumalo, he said no, they had not discussed the matter with
part of the first answer you gave, that insofar as recruitment and capacitating of the service, and by way of example, Crime Intelligence Division, that you as the minister have got concurrent responsibility and power as the National Commissioner. Did I understand you correctly?
No,
you don't have the same powers as the Commissioner has in that respect.
No, I don't think you understand me correctly.
Okay.
I'm saying we were playing oversight. Maybe I should use that word. We were playing oversight on the matter, not exercising power together concurrently.
Okay. Now, yes. Lastly, are you able to shed light on what is the current status? Are those all posts in crime intelligence still frozen, or has the situation changed? And if so, when and how did it change?
When we went to at some point, we went to the Joint Standing Committee on Crime Intelligence. I wouldn't remember what time it was, what month it was.
I accept that. Yes.
Sometime earlier. We had a discussion as we were leaving with National Commissioner to say, National Commissioner said, we take it that we can now start filling up posts, and I said, I take it that you can go ahead, because we had had several meetings, indeed, and dealing with this matter that I was concerned with National Commissioner and with Head of Crime Intelligence.
Okay. I have a last question for you. Before you issued this directive,
this particular one,
this very particular, your SM20, your letter of the 31st of October, did you confer with the President December 2024? Sorry. Thank you, Commissioner. Did you have opportunity to confer with the President, in particular, about Directive 3 regarding the disestablishment of the PKTT? Did you bring to the President's attention your thinking and your intention in that, insofar as PKTT is or the continued existence of PKTT is concerned?
Not before.
No,
but it was
before.
only after.
Oh, how long after the 31st of December did you have that engagement?
I think it must have been the 23rd, if not the 13th, one of the 2 dates of January.
Of January.
Yes.
I'm going to tread very carefully here, because I don't think it is my place to inquire about your conversations with your President, but are you able to share with the Commission what reasons you advanced to the President for your decisions, and what the President's response thereto was? Are you in a position to And like I say, I asked that question very guardedly.
You want me to answer?
Yes, please, I'm inviting you to.
When we had the meeting, whether the 13th or the 23rd, I wasn't going there to make a presentation. So we held a brief discussion. It was just to give a short briefing to the President of what has happened and to brief him that there is this particular development that has happened, and that I had wished that I had had an opportunity to consult, to discuss with him this particular decision before. I'm only coming now, and we had. Then I did indicate what it is all about, but it was not in the form of a presentation and like I'm doing now. It was just to indicate in particular that decision, and then cite a few things, and we left it off like that.
And did the President respond in any manner to what you informed him of? And if so, what did he say in his response, or what was his response?
Well, the President noted what
Okay.
I just said,
Okay.
and I left.
Just simply noted. Chair and Commissioners, okay, at my part, thank you. All right.
Minister, so I should have asked earlier when Ms. Silo was discussing with you the reasons that you have given at page 56. And maybe let's start at 168, and I just want to get clarity about what you're saying there.
56 of my statement.
Of your statement,
Okay.
yes, of your statement. Paragraph 168, you give the second reason for your decision. You say the Marai report of 22 November 2024, you say the report confirmed governance problems that had arisen for the proliferation of temporary task teams in SAPS. And then you list, you've got those sub-paragraphs from 1 up to 5. What you list there as the problems that are in the report, you are not saying it's unique to the PKTT. You're talking about task teams generally.
That is what the report was talking
Yes.
about.
So
yes.
it wasn't specific to the PKTT
Yes.
so much. All right. And then the next one, and it's also in similar vein of wanting to clarify, 171, paragraph 171 in the next page. You've got your fourth reason there. You give as your fourth reason the internal disputes between HRM and crime intelligence regarding the model for the murder and robbery unit. Is this which you're describing here specific to the PKTT, or was it a general problem about crime intelligence and HRM? I think it's human resource management.
I take it that it may have arisen as a particular problem between the two units, but I don't think it would have been confined only.
Yeah.
Because I know that at some point we discussed some issues between HRM and DPCI.
Yes.
So it would be elsewhere as well.
Okay, so it wasn't, in fact, you do say towards the end of that paragraph, still at 171, in the last two lines, there's a sentence that starts, the National Commissioner's briefing demonstrated alignment within SAP's leadership on the path forward and confirmed that interim structures, including the NPKT, were to be migrated. So it looks like you were talking about a problem generally.
Definitely.
Not NPKTT necessarily.
It would be.
Okay, thank you very much, Minister.
But not exclusive.
Yes, no, that's what I meant, that you are not saying it's exclusive to the PKTT. Thank you.
For the last time, Minister, do you still have page 258 of SM7?
258.
Are you there?
258.
Yes.
Yes.
Just look at bullet point 1 on page 259. 258 is where the note starts. So on 259, bullet 1.
Bullet 1.
Yes. When you took your decision on 31 December 2024, were you aware that the mandate of the PKTT had been extended to deal with cases involving the killings of traditional leaders?
When I wrote
Yes.
the
disbandment letter?
yes, we were aware.
Were you aware?
Yes.
Now, how did you think they were going to fulfill that mandate if they were already disbanded?
How did I?
How did you think or expect that they would fulfill that mandate if you wanted them disbanded?
It would be through murder and robbery.
But murder and robbery already existed when the mandate was extended to include the killings of traditional leaders.
That is exactly the concern that was identified in the Marai report, and it is part of the list that you are reading, possible double parking on matters, because there's no reason why murder and robbery wouldn't deal with matters associated with traditional leadership. There's no reason.
So if National Commissioner and his subordinates determine that it should be the PKTT that deals with the killings of traditional leaders, you say you can overrule them and decide that it must be dealt with by murder and robbery?
You know why and through what? You will go to Mpumalanga, there's no PKTT there. And if traditional leaders have a problem, you wouldn't say murder and robbery must not deal with it. They would deal with it, which is what we would want to see in the country. Murder and robbery dealing with all matters in a sustainable way. And this is what we were driving things towards, to make sure that whatever skill that gets developed, it's maintained, it's sustained, it is honed and sharpened all the time, as opposed to having a team and on a temporal basis.
I don't think you are correct when you say if you go to Mpumalanga, there's no PKTT, because if you go to file 2 of 2, your exhibits bundle on page 253, that briefing to the last IMC meeting and the briefing note that Minister Kele at the time prepared, he says the work has also been exemplary in the investigation and ultimate breakthrough of murders in the Fort Hare, in the Eastern Cape, where 8 people have been arrested and are before the courts. Next paragraph, the task team is also assisting in investigations in the Limpopo and Mpumalanga provinces. And as we know, in December 2024, 10 of those members were then sent to Gauteng to assist the GCIS ops. So they were operating in 5 provinces, not the KZN. Were you aware of that?
Well, I wasn't aware of Mpumalanga. I was just making an example.
No, I thought you said they are not in Mpumalanga. That's why I was correcting you.
I was making an example that if Amakosi die there and there's no PKTT, you would expect that murder and robbery would deal with those matters in the context that we're discussing.
I've just shown you that they assisted in those provinces. So what do you say now?
Now, I want to say I acknowledge what you're saying, that they went there to assist. It could be any number, but I'm insisting that the ideal position is not to do that. The ideal situation is for capacity to be built in Mpumalanga, capacity to be built in Limpopo, and so on. And they deal with the matters as per structure that we have.
And the reason they came to assist in Gauteng was precisely because the resources in Gauteng did not have the same capacity that PKTT had. That's why some of the PKTT members were seconded to the teams in Gauteng to assist in the investigation of certain matters.
Now, we seem to be talking a little bit parallel. This is not to say when there is an issue or there was an issue that they identified you couldn't take PKTT to go and assist, just like you take TRT or you take national intervention. This is not to say so. If those happened, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It may mean that it was a project in and out or for the time being. I'm not sure whether the examples you're making in relation to Limpopo and Mpumalanga means that there is PKTT in the form that it is in KZN. I suspect that you are talking about taking members in KZN to go and assist or reinforce, which you could have done even with any other combative unit. So that existence is not the same as you are talking.
And lastly, Minister,
you are making.
Sorry to interrupt you. Are you finished? I interrupted you. Are you finished?
Yes, I'm
Oh,
done.
sorry.
I'm
Sorry
done.
about that. Lastly, is there anything in the Murray report that says once you've established the murder and robbery unit, you cannot establish task teams, or the task teams that already exist cannot continue to exist?
The whole concept of establishing specialized units right from the beginning was to build capacity. In other words, was to bring capability within subs. And in writing, it is indicated in a number of instances that once you have murder and robbery, even in the documents, the 22nd January, that was preliminary report, National Commissioner indicates exactly that it would be absorbed. It would be absorbed. So it is in the concept, and it has been the understanding over time that you won't have them parallel. But even when you have those specialized units, if a problem that is seen to be above any existing capacity of specialized units, you would necessarily deploy combative units that you pick up from anywhere.
So a task team can operate side by side with the murder and robbery unit?
In the form that we were talking about in the Eastern Cape, reinforcing, not really sitting there for a period like you are relying on a temporal structure as subs for an extended period. They would go there, reinforce, and then come back. That is the understanding. That's the operational understanding from where I sit, that we wish to get to that level of working. Have something that is stable and consistently being built as a capacity. But then you can, from time to time, when the need arises.
Thank you.
Minister, if I could just follow up on that. I understand your answer to the question whether the Murray report says task teams can't exist. I understand you to, in summary, to say, no, the Murray report doesn't say task teams can't exist. So I'm not going to, am I understanding it to challenge you to point us to where it says that. I'll read it for myself and see that. But if you could just look at your SM5, it is the Murray report of 2024, which is signed on the 18th of March 2024, but we now know that in fact there is an extension of the term on the 1st of